We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. Oh my goodness. It's been a hot minute since we've been live. My hat's a little tilted. I don't like that. How is everybody doing? This is a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined as always on my right by Mr. Aponte, Jason Aponte, Jay Aponte. Call him whatever you want. He is Jason Aponte. Jason, how you doing today?
Doing great. I'm happy to be back and happy to be doing this again. Indianapolis was a little chaotic, but I'm glad to be back in the bag with you and everything as well too. Just a quick reminder for anybody that's here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. A ton of content coming this week now that I'm home and actually able to focus more than anything. And I want to give a shout out to Tony, who became a newest member of the Spicy Squad, and same thing with Ariel, newest member of the Spicy Squad. For you guys that don't know, hit that join button on the video, which will allow you, when we start the call-in shows, to be prioritized. Everybody else will have to wait because we'll take care of the Spicy Squad first. You guys will get emojis and other things and other perks like that. So yeah, take care of some of the housekeeping and everything. But there's some other stuff that's in here. It's a beautiful day for Chase, and we'll talk about why it is. Yeah. Paul says it's a gorgeous day here in the Pacific Northwest, boys. AG Fox, what's up, everybody in here? And I'll let Andrew take it away because there is a sense of joy for a little while amongst 49ers fans, and that's wild.
Well, I think there's a lot of things to be joyful about as a 49ers fan today. A lot of moving parts today. Today is the unofficial start of free agency, the NFL offseason, all that fun stuff. I know the new league year doesn't start until the 16th, but the first big domino fell earlier this morning. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be back with the Green Bay Packers. We knew that. That's the big news that happened in the morning. And as Aaron Rodgers didn't like, the news was taken off of him because the Seattle Seahawks, they have finally moved off their quarterback, Russell Wilson, a player 49er fans are very familiar with. He is on his way to the Denver Broncos. A little bit of a surprise because and before we really dive in, because we're Niner fans, we're celebrating today, we're happy. I want to give the Denver Broncos all the credit in the world right now, because there was three options for Aaron Rodgers this offseason. I think everybody would agree. It was either he was going to go to the Packers were going to trade him to the Broncos, or Aaron Rodgers was going to retire and not play for however long it may be. And so the Aaron Rodgers says he's going back to the Packers, whatever the contract is. I don't know exactly what it is. I know there's that 4-year, $200 million deal, but Rodgers already said no to that. But the Broncos had a backup plan, and that backup plan is pretty close to what Aaron Rodgers can be in a top 5, top 10 quarterback in Russell Wilson, where I think somebody said it. He goes from the third best quarterback in the NFC West to the third best quarterback in the AFC West. Which is very fun and entertaining. But, I mean, it really does make the Broncos better. It doesn't make Seattle any better, but they're in the middle of a rebuild, which this is the first step to moving off your quarterback to get all these picks. The trade, which we'll probably dive into the pieces. The Broncos are sending Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2022 and 2023, 2 second-round picks, a 2022 and a 2023, and a 2022 fifth-round pick. So pretty decent haul for the Seahawks to kind of build off of, which we'll talk about that as well, how successful they can be building off with this trade. But I think the instant reaction for a lot of Niner fans was, oh my God, he's out of the division. And then the second reaction was, well, of course they're playing the Broncos this year, right? So, but I think the big thing really here is for 49er fans is the boogeyman is out of the division, because Matt Stafford is good, Kyler Murray's good, but nobody has tormented the San Francisco 49ers as a franchise more than Russell Wilson. And he's now out of the division. And I think there's an argument to be had about, before this trade, who the best team in the NFC West was. I think all 4 teams had a case. But now the Seahawks are out of that race. The Seahawks are definitively the worst team in this division. And the Niner fans should be very excited about that because the Seahawks have been that team that's kind of been the Niners' nightmare for the better part of 10 years.
And before I get to serious analysis, let me take a comment from JKBG, who continues to be an MVP in the comments. He says, Russ is celebrating tonight some John Denver, a 6-pack of Zima, a couple of Everybody Loves Raymond episodes just in time for bed by 9 p.m. That, JKBG, is what, when you look up in the dictionary, would be the definition of a lean night for Russell Wilson, the leanest of nights. So
that's what he does when he gets crazy.
Yeah, that's him tearing the roof off this mother.
Okay.
Severe, so actual analysis.
Yes.
I find it odd. I find two things odd. The Seattle Seahawks took John Schneider and Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
That's strange. There are far more good coaches and GMs out there than there are quarterbacks of his ilk growing on trees. That's one. Two, what Seattle got, I feel like Denver kind of got away with something.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people describe this as an absolute haul. I don't know if it's an absolute haul, right? Drew Lock, Noah Fant is somebody who I think is incredible, athletically gifted, somebody who hasn't put it together because of the inconsistencies at quarterback. I know him and Drew Lock have a connection. I get that. And then the 2 firsts, the 2 seconds, and then a 5th. And then Seattle sends Russell Wilson and a 4th. Wait a minute. Seattle sent you a pick? If I'm Seattle, I'm sending you Russell Wilson and I'm sticking your whole franchise up, and I'm not sending you anything other than that. I'm not sweetening the deal with a 4th or a 5th rounder. No, I don't send you picks. You send me picks for the reputation that Russell Wilson has. Those are the two things that really jumped out to me more than anything. So, the one thing that will comfort 49er fans is that Seattle hasn't done a particularly good job at drafting. Mm-hmm. But the joke is out there now. They can use these first-round picks to get back what they sent for Jamal Adams. But for me, what this screams more than anything is this. Seattle's sitting at 9 now. You've got to jump Seattle now for Malik Willis. You've got to find a way to get in front of him now for Malik Willis because I think it's pretty set in stone what Seattle just did. Sure, we'll piddle around with Drew Lock this year. Let's see what happens. It's a high upside thing, right? Like, the talent was there in college. A lot of people liked him. We'll piddle around with him and see what he's got. And we'll let Malik sit. Or, as we've seen the Seattle Seahawks literally sign Matt Flynn off of one game, a 6-touchdown game, and have him come into camp after they drafted Russell Wilson and have that job handed right over to Russell Wilson. So, firmly, it kind of puts them in rebuild mode. And then, here's the thing that I think we were talking about before. It feels like Denver was locked in on Wilson the entire time because when you hear that they had been talking about this for 2 weeks and Rodgers' thing had nothing to do with how they moved, I don't know what to believe because I just went through the whirlwind of the combine and generic quotes and guys not saying anything while saying things behind the scenes that would completely contradict the things that they said in public. But it still feels like Denver kind of already knew that Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be there for him in any way. And I know the reports out there that he chose between Denver and Green Bay. Right now, after the masterclass of media that I just got from the combine and from coming off this offseason and everything, I don't know what to believe. But from right now, it seems like Denver was dead set on Russell Wilson. And for me, I think Denver stole this trade more than anything at this point when you look at what they have.
And you mentioned Jamal Adams recouping what they got. Seattle received 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 5th. They sent 2 firsts and a 3rd to get Jamal Adams. So they've recouped the 2 firsts. Josh Eccles, thank you for the comment. There might not be many quarterbacks, or there may not be many good quarterbacks in the league, but how many of them can sing Jeezy on the sideline? That's a good point. That's a stat that people forget.
Put On is an amazing song. And I am a big Young Jeezy fan. And he's not Young Jeezy anymore because he's too grown for that. He's Jeezy now. I have to stop evaluating quarterbacks based on their rapping skills and their juice and things like that. Because when I saw that video of him on the sideline, I was like, oh, wow. Drew Lock's one of them. One of those. He's one of them guys.
You haven't seen Jimmy Garoppolo singing Jeezy on the sideline. Just throwing that.
I saw him kind of try to vibe to Super Gremlin when they were walking out, but that was just like one little he threw like a hand in. Like he wasn't like Drew Lock knows all the words to put on. That's important. Adjust your rankings. Adjust the way that you scout your quarterbacks at this point. Obviously we're having a little bit of fun here at this point, but yeah, man. I've got to stop evaluating quarterbacks based on their rap skills, man. Because when you're better at rap, I start to feel like, okay, this is a guy. And now here's a guy who can rap put on with every single word and not miss a word. So, but yeah, keep going. I'm sorry. Let's get back on track here.
I love the Chris Collins word. Anytime I get a hit, now here's the guy. Like I feel like I got to do the slide in the camera. Now here's the guy. Yeah. But no. So Jason, you mentioned the first round picks. And I happen to have them up right now. And since the Russell Wilson draft, which let's give the Seahawks credit, their first 3 picks in the Russell Wilson draft, Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson. Very good draft. Let's give them that.
Now do the rest.
Since that trade in just the first round, these have been that was 10 drafts ago. That was 2012. 2013, no first. 2014, no first. 2015, no first. 2016, Jermaine Fetty. Okay. 2017, no first. 2018, Rashad Penny. 2019, LJ Collier. 2020, Jordan Brooks. 2021, no first round picks. They only had 3 picks last year. What are these first picks going to do? What are they going to do for the Seahawks? They've shown they can't hit on them. They haven't had good drafts in a while. I mean, if we go, they haven't had a good pick since 2019. DK Metcalf in the second round.
Who?
He's pretty good. He might not be in Seattle, so I don't know. I don't know what they're planning to do. Maybe they are trying to move off of him. I don't know.
The buzz around DK, and this is from some of the people that you really look up to when we were talking to them. He bombed all his interviews, and that's why he ended up in the second round.
Yeah.
He bombed them all.
He fell into their lap. Like that's kind of they made that pick because he fell into their lap. So I mean, it's really hard to see the Seahawks turning these picks into something great. And yeah, Malik Willis is probably maybe going to be the pick at 9 now because the Seahawks do need a quarterback, unless you do want to put the tinfoil hat on, which we love to do here at the Sprint Red Option podcast, and maybe talk about Deshaun Watson being available because
we're not talking about that. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to put that in existence.
We're not even going to put it into existence.
No.
Because I think there's dots that we can connect for it.
I know we can, but I'm choosing not to. It does not fit my narrative.
We'll let that sit a little bit. We'll worry about that until we get to it. So I need to see the Seahawks do something with their draft picks for me to be convinced this is going to be a good trade for them. And I understand that this can be spun into a good trade in 5 years because who knows, maybe who they draft in the first round this year is going to be good. And maybe who they take in the first round next year is going to be good. But right now, this just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I know they needed to get rid of Russell Wilson, and Ian Rappaport just tweeted, by the way, just a heads up. Some information's coming out slowly but surely. Russell Wilson, Schefter tweeted right before we went live that Wilson has signed his no-trade clause and passed the Broncos physical. It's official on his end. The other players involved do need to pass their physical. But then Ian Rappaport just tweeted 7 minutes ago that the Broncos were the only team Russell Wilson wanted to go to.
Right.
So
that's the other thing as well.
So maybe that's something the Seahawks knew. I mean, it had to be. There's no way they're communicating with Russell Wilson and him telling them, not telling him what teams he's accepting a trade to. So maybe this is just the best the Broncos said, because I do think it's interesting. I mean, it's not interesting that they gave up on Locke already because you get Russell Wilson. You don't need Locke anymore. That's a throw in. Now the question is does Seattle feel comfortable with Drew Lock? And that's I don't know, and that's why I think maybe Malik Willis, at 9 makes sense, or maybe a quarterback who plays for Houston with some legal issues could be in play, because you got to take into account Errol's situation, right? Of he doesn't have a ton of years, and it wouldn't make sense for him to sit through a rebuild, because he's not going to be there that much longer, whether he gets fired or whether he retires, because he is up there in age. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason for the Seahawks, just in general. But now it's more so interesting because they don't have Russell Wilson, and they have a pretty big opening at the quarterback position.
Yep. Absolutely. And let's take some questions because we got some really good ones in here. So Jesse asks, if I was Russ, I would have tried to force my way to Washington. He would make them the best team in that division. Apparently, there was a report that came out that Washington blew away that offer from Denver, but Seattle was in no mood to trade him in the NFC. So I think that's where that comes from.
I think it adds to the fact that maybe he did only want to go to Denver, and that's why they didn't take it. Because as a franchise, I think there's a certain, and we might see it a little bit with Garoppolo, where Garoppolo might prefer to go to Pittsburgh. But if Washington's offering X amount more, the Niners should take that. Obviously, Russell Wilson has a no trade clause, and he could block any trade. Garoppolo doesn't have that protection. So I think that leads me to believe that maybe he only wanted to go to Denver. And even too, you mentioned that Washington would be the best team in that division. I think there's very much a case, especially if they get Von Miller back with that defense. They already have the young pieces. One of the best running backs in the league, Javonte Williams, got you, Jason. And I think there's an argument to be made that maybe Denver's the best team in the AFC West now. I think it's a hard argument to make because you have Kansas City and you have an up-and-coming Chargers team, and the Raiders who exist. Like the Raiders aren't going to be good. Like I feel so bad for Derek Carr, man. Like that's got to be so brutal that you're in a division with the best quarterback in the league, a top 5 quarterback in the league, an up-and-coming quarterback, and you're just Derek Carr. So it is interesting. I think Washington would have been a good place, but I think it leads me to believe that Denver was the place he wanted to go to.
Yep. And let's take this one from Kylie. Shout out to you, man. Jason, great job at the combine. I'm so happy for you, bro. How did Leon O'Neal Jr. look at the combine? I really like the young man. Kylie, he was charismatic at the podium. Ask Jordan Elliott, who, shout out to him, man. He's the biggest winner of the combine. I mean, this man just flexed on all of us and took and posted a picture of him and Ian Rappaport.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Jordan's stock went way up right after we gave him the Sprint Ride Option Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't think it's coincidence. No, just throwing that out there.
But Kylie, real quick, I mean, Leon was the first guy on the field and the last guy off. So, I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, again, that's the combine, but man, he was impressive, man. So, let's keep looking. JKBG, who continues to be the MVP over here in the Evan Hill in shambles right now, probably crying and ripping off the Russell Fathead off of his wall. Yeah, man. Of course, Russ is saying that. Tony's saying the same thing as well. Let Russ toke. That's a good reason why you want to go up to Denver. I mean, at this point, I mean, that's a really good one. Also, you know what? If we can get a little spicy, because we haven't been doing this a while. You know, it's been a minute. Russ is dodging the smoke. He knows Trey's coming. He dodging the smoke. I want out of here. I can't do this, man. I'm tired of it. What if Russell Wilson ends up being the 4th best in that division at that point? Aha. So. Yeah.
He kind of locks himself in at the 3rd best in the AFC West.
That's cool. 3 I can do. 4 can't do it.
Well, okay. So there's the kind of Russell Wilson takeaway. Obviously, Niner fans are excited, and just to pound home that excitement, Russell Wilson in 20 games against the San Francisco 49ers, 16-4. 16 wins, 4 losses. He was very good against the Niners. He's out of the division. We're good. But I think there's other things today that are kind of interesting that aren't as important as the Russell Wilson thing. That is the Aaron Rodgers situation. He's staying in Green Bay, which I think some people believe helps the Niners' case with getting more for Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know how much it helps. I don't know if it really bumps his trade stock. Just Alex, Trey better than Mahomes, confirmed by Russ. There we go. And that confirms it. I agree. I don't think it really bumps Garoppolo's stock because, as I said, I think the three situations that Aaron Rodgers was going to be in was either Green Bay, Denver, or retired. I don't think it changes much on the Garoppolo front. I think the Wilson trade does offer a little more because I think there's a very fun world where maybe Seattle trades for Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think it's going to happen, but to me, I think that'll be very fun. And I think that's what this rivalry really needs. I think it'd be great, fantastic. I don't think it's going to happen. But the other one that I think is a little more interesting, and I'll start this off, and this is something I've said to you privately, Jason, and this is something I'm finally ready to say out in front of the world on this podcast, is if I am an NFL team, barring the situation, because I think Indianapolis has a different situation than Pittsburgh, who has a different situation than Washington. I think there's three quarterbacks available right now that I probably kick the tires on before Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. That's okay. Let me explain it before we yell.
Let's go.
It's Jameis Winston, it's Marcus Mariota, and it's Mitch Trubisky. And it has, I get it, like Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Mariota.
Hold on. Can I throw a curveball at you?
Can you? Yeah, I love curveballs. Like to sit back on it a little bit. Hit a home run.
Cool. I mean, it's all about the arc and timing it correctly.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz too. To me, that's a little tougher because there is that locker room aspect. It doesn't feel like he's that well liked of a guy in his locker room.
Keep talking. Okay, keep talking. We'll get to it. I'll give you my combine knowledge, but keep going. I think you're on the right track already at this point.
Are we referencing that Wentz is a better option than Garoppolo, or Garoppolo is a better option than Wentz?
Okay.
Let's see what you say. Let's do this.
All the buzz in Indianapolis, from Colts people, from everyone that we talk to, from GMs, from teams, from players. Wentz is done in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Done. Completely done. And some of it is play on the field. Some of it has nothing to do with play on the field and has to do with some of his choices. I think you guys know what I'm alluding to. So when you have a guy that you invested so much money in, he didn't play particularly well because he didn't. And then he also puts himself at risk of missing games. And who knows how much of that had to go into why he deteriorated so fast at the end of the season. Yes, they are done. Now, on the flip side, everyone that we talk to that is affiliated with the Colts in any way, beat writers, scouts, they love the idea of Jimmy. They love it. But the market hasn't materialized. It just hasn't at this point yet. Because you're waiting for dominoes to fall. You're waiting to find out who's going to go where. What about this guy? What about this guy? And that's what I think everybody was talking about when they were saying, well, Jimmy Garoppolo's value is about the spike. It was less about what you believe about Jimmy Garoppolo and more about you just wiped off two places that weren't going to be looking for anybody. Not that the Packers were going to be interested in Jimmy Garoppolo, but Rodgers goes back. So that means Rodgers can't go to Denver. Denver's got Russ. Wipe off Denver. Now, Washington offered a considerable amount for Russell Wilson, and that couldn't get done. It couldn't get done. You know why? Seattle said no, not the NFC, and who knows how much influence Russell Wilson had. I have a tough time believing that Seattle would trade him to like a Cleveland when he's the best player in the franchise's history. Mm-hmm. So they showed him some respect, and they did him a solid. Also behooved themselves because they get to move him out of the conference. But that was the buzz. Carson Wentz is cooked in Indy. And I'd be shocked if he came back. Again, it's in the comments. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about when I say things off the field. But I believe he was like one of 5 players that didn't want to fall in line with what we're talking about. And that rubbed Jim Irsay in his front office the wrong way because you are supposed to be the leader. Yes. Now, tying it back to Jimmy Garoppolo, speak to any 49ers player, any of them. Find a guy who would say that he's not a good leader or that they wouldn't follow him into a fire or that he can't win a game. Like, none of the Colts guys say that about him. And from everything we got, it's something that's like, it's the worst kept secret, man. I mean, everybody we spoke to literally said the same exact thing over and over. So it's less about speculating and more about this sounds like a truth. I could talk to a guy in Minnesota and ask him what they think about, Colts, the Colts and Wentz. And they're like, man, he's cooked. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
He's out. And they know that. So again, this is something that's like behind the scenes a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and I think Indianapolis to me is the best option for Jimmy Garoppolo because that's a team that is the closest to being good or being a Super Bowl contender. We'll use that in air quotes because I don't think Jimmy makes Pittsburgh a Super Bowl contender. I don't think he makes Washington a Super Bowl contender. But if we're going back to kind of what I was saying, I think there's three quarterbacks, and I don't think Indianapolis would look at any of these three. Jameis Winston, Mitch Trubisky, and Marcus Mariota are three guys I'd look at before Jimmy Garoppolo because you know what you're getting Garoppolo at the price you're getting him at, where you can get a Winston, a Mariota, a Trubisky cheaper and have a little bit of an unknown. And to me, Mitch Trubisky is an interesting name, but there's a rumor out there that the Giants are looking at Mitch Trubisky to compete with Daniel Jones for their starting quarterback position. And that is such a best case scenario for the 49ers right now, because if as many names can go to as many spots that aren't sewn in, because the Giants aren't going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not. They have Daniel Jones. They're happy. They just want somebody to compete. If you're going to trade all that and take on that contract, Jimmy Garoppolo is your starter. So if you can get as many names away from teams that actually need starting quarterbacks like Washington, like Pittsburgh, like Indianapolis, it's better for the 49ers. And now if Jameis Winston goes back to New Orleans, because I know Jameis Winston, I would love Jameis Winston on the Niners back. I've already said I'll buy his jersey as the backup. Because I know New Orleans was kind of interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. That rumor kind of popped its head up. But now if Jameis Winston goes back to New Orleans, now we're talking about really, you either go Jimmy Garoppolo or you go Marcus Mariota or Carson Wentz. I don't see anybody making Carson Wentz the face of their franchise at this point. It really adds value to Jimmy Garoppolo. And so listen, if you're a Niners fan right now, you are hoping the Giants get Trubisky. You are hoping the New York Giants sign him because that is one less name on the market going to a team that doesn't really – they need a quarterback. Yes, they do need a quarterback. Daniel Jones isn't going to win them anything, but quarterback isn't their biggest need because they do have Daniel Jones to fall back on. So I think there's a lot of little interesting things that happened today that do make the Niners situation with Jimmy Garoppolo more interesting.
And to tie it back to the combine, Mitch Trubisky was on the tongue of many general managers, front office players. Like they kept talking about him. And Jordan Elliott, who is a big Mitchell Trubisky fan, I want to make sure I credit him. He spoke to one of his former coaches. And Jordan said, I'm a big Mitch Trubisky guy, like almost like the Jerick McKinnon thing is a joke. But this coach looked Jordan dead in the face and said, you're about to get the last laugh on Trubisky.
Yeah.
I think that's the way many people in the front office view Mitch at this point, because, and then when you think about it with the Giants, it's a perfect fit. I mean, his offensive coordinator is the head coach over there. The general manager is their general manager over there. They know exactly what Trubisky is doing. And this person coached him last year, is no longer a coach with them. But Jordan asked that question. And this is why he's the MVP of the combine, because those things were out there, but he confirmed it behind the scenes. And that's the crazy part about all of this. And that's what I think we learned the most in the combine. But there is a world where people want Mitch, man. They really do. And they really want to tap into what he has. And again, I think there's that Sam Darnold sort of thing going on with Mitch right now at this point. Like Sam Darnold was stuck with Adam Gase. Maybe we can tap into what he's got. Well, Mitch Trubisky was stuck with Matt Nagy. How much can we tap into this? And that's what I think is a lot of the intrigue from him.
But I think what really helped Trubisky is he had a year to go to a competent coaching staff in Buffalo. Buffalo got to see him, work with him, make him better. And we got to learn that Matt Nagy is pretty damn bad at this head coaching thing because Justin Fields, like he just never felt like he progressed. Is that true in BN Chan? Is that
breaking
did you
news.
Just pull that up?
Breaking news.
Is that
breaking
real?
News.
The Titans have signed outside linebacker Harold Landry to a 5-year, $87.5 million deal that includes $52.5 million guaranteed per source, which was a name People mentioned that name when he didn't sign the franchise tag, that maybe the Niners could be interested in him. I never thought it would be a thing because he would. You see the money, you see that money. The Niners weren't going to do that. They don't have that money to do. So there's some breaking news. Thank you, NBA and Jen, for bringing that to our attention. But Trubisky got that year in between Matt Nagy and whatever team's going to go get him, where Darnold, he went straight from that really bad system, that really bad head coach in New York with Adam Gase, and he was thrown right back into the fire. I think what really helps Trubisky is he got a year off where now there's more unknown to him. There is more because Justin Fields didn't progress at any point this year. He had little flashes of like he can be good, but I think Matt Nagy held him back.
Andrew, I didn't come here. I came here to talk football with you about the 49ers. I didn't come here to get slandered. I didn't come here to listen to Justin Fields slander. I don't want to hear it, okay? Keep it to yourself, man.
Well, it's more Matt Nagy slander. That's what it is.
Good.
So I think the best case for the foot, just to kind of tie it back to the Niners, because we've had a lot of Trubisky talk here in the last 5 minutes. Mitch Trubisky going to the Giants would be a very good thing for the Niners, because I could see him being a guy where, let's say Washington gets, or not Washington, let's say Indianapolis gets Garoppolo, Jameis goes back to New Orleans. Now you have Trubisky as a start. Yeah, no, I'm not slandering Fields. That came off wrong. I apologize. That came off wrong. Matt Nagy,
out of here for that.
Matt Nagy's head coaching ability really stunted him. How about that? Is that better? Is that a better thing to say?
Amazing. And at the Combine, Eberflus, he gave a great answer, and I love their offensive coordinator. I feel much better about where Justin Fields is going to be going this year, even though they're going to lose Allen Robinson, who is now a free agent.
Until we're proven wrong, Jason Aponte and we will die on the hill that we believe that Fields should have been the pick at 3 for the Niners. That's what we've asked for.
And also, as 49er fans, I root for his progression.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, no. So yeah, this is not Justin Fields slander, right? So I apologize. So yeah, I mean, realistically, what it comes down to is you want to keep as many starting jobs open as possible. And if Trubisky goes to New York, as many starting jobs as possible are still open. Washington still needs a quarterback. Indianapolis still needs a quarterback. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback, the Saints, all that. So just to boil it down, today was a good day for the Niners in multiple ways. Aaron Rodgers is off the market. Russell Wilson is out of Seattle. I don't even care where he went. He is out of Seattle. That is all that mattered. And then Trubisky may or may not be going to a spot where he is not going to go to a place that desperately needs a quarterback. So just overall, a very good day to be a Niner fan.
All right, let's play a little fun game.
Let's play a fun game. I like fun games.
Let's play the most fun game. Let's speculate, not knowing anything on March 8th. Let's just have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
Starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022.
Starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022. I will go. Oh man, who does Pittsburgh want? Because I would have penciled in Malik Willis. Malik
would have been the pick,
but it's
done in Seattle now.
I think he's going up to Seattle. You know what? I'll go Mason Rudolph.
Really? Okay.
I think they miss out because you'll see my answers later. Okay,
I got Carson Wentz going there. They'll find a way to make they'll find a way to take a chance on him, and they'll think they can fix him. They'll run the ball a ton, all that stuff. Okay, so I got Wentz there. Let's go. Let's keep going. Washington Commanders.
I'll go Wentz.
You'll go Wentz there.
I'll go Wentz there. I think they'll miss out on the Garoppolo sweepstakes, and they get a decently known commodity in Carson Wentz.
Okay, I think Washington ends up with somebody like Teddy, and they'll keep Heineke around, and they'll see what they've got, and they'll let those guys compete. And I think they're okay with running with either of those guys because I do think that they missed the boat on both of those guys. Let's keep going. New Orleans.
Jameis Winston.
I got Jameis there too, man. Yeah. I do. I absolutely do. Don't tell me about the cap. I literally watched an entire show on NFL Network about how all they have to do is restructure like 2 or 3 contracts and fine, they're under the cap and they can all of a sudden make moves. So I think Jameis goes back there, and I think that I think the Saints have their guy.
And I think there's something too to the thought that they were the team that took the chance on Jameis when he, Tampa Bay obviously didn't work. They took the chance on him. He was successful there. I mean, I always forget how good he was before he tore his ACL. 14 touchdowns, the 3 interceptions. And then I made the joke in our sprint right into the Denim Dungeon joke that, hey, to be the first ever 30-30 quarterback in NFL history, you got to throw for 30 touchdowns. So I think the progression has been there. I think him being in New Orleans last season and the team taking the chance, I think that's why they bring him back. I really do. So I think Jameis is in New Orleans.
Now let's get fun. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Blaine Gabbert.
No.
They seem very okay with it, and maybe that's just them blowing smoke up everybody's ass. I think it'd be super, super cool to see Blaine Gabbert get another chance in Tampa Bay. So I'm just going to run with what Bruce Arians has said just for fun. That's going to be my answer. You going to go Tom Brady?
No, not Brady. I have no idea who they're going to be quarterback because you know what? All right, let's get crazy. They trade for Deshaun Watson.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's a fun one. Because here's the thing with Deshaun Watson, okay? I think at this point, it's obvious. Josh, thank you for the donation. Love you. We'll play Elden Ring here in a minute. The Deshaun Watson situation has really devolved into a spot where I don't think he's going to face any legal consequences. I do think he's going to settle. And at worst, we're going to be talking about an 8-game suspension because all he did was sexually assault multiple women. And he didn't gamble on games. I was going to say, let me finish the joke. Let me finish the joke. Yeah. So I apologize because obviously that is a very serious thing he's been accused of. And the punishment should be way more than 8 games. But that's probably what he's going to be because the NFL has shown that that's the baseline of what that crime is he's probably only going to get 8 games. And I hope they surprise me and he does get a full season. He does get something more severe than that. So it's tough because there are, and Tony, I see what you're saying with he has civil and criminal.
But we're going to find out Friday.
It sounds like things are going to be settled on Friday.
We're going to find out Friday.
We'll find out what happens Friday. So if he doesn't have any criminal charges at that point, the NFL probably suspends him for half a season. That's just kind of what it is. And it's unfortunate because I have a hard time, obviously we talk about the NFL and all that. I get it. I have a hard time believing the NFL has the ethics of suspending a guy for 16 games or 17 games now for gambling when they make millions and millions of dollars on gambling. But they're only going to give, Ray Rice got 2 games. It's an unfortunate situation, but Deshaun Watson will get traded and it will be a team that's really looking for a quarterback because they know the punishment isn't going to be super severe. And yeah, AG Fox makes a good point. He appeals and it'll be less. So it's hard. It's hard, but yeah, I could see Deshaun Watson being in Tampa Bay.
Okay. Indianapolis Colts.
The number 1 star on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy
Yes.
Garoppolo. Here's the thing, man. Here's the idea. Jimmy Garoppolo is the best player for the Colts because he is the best player to get them to where they want, because Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't win games for you. He's not going to win games, but he's good enough to allow you to win. And he's going to be handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, the best running back in the NFL, not named Javonte Williams. We're going to run with that meme until we can't anymore.
Hey, look, man. All right. Now let's get hot because I ain't talked to y'all in a minute. If they don't bring back Melvin Gordon, because the Denver general manager in the combine, he started talking about, yeah, we'd love to have Melvin back. And it literally, like, Jordan and Rob looked at me like, because I was going to go jump on the stage and just like tackle this man because I didn't want to hear this. But if they don't bring Melvin Gordon back, Javonte Williams has a really legitimate chance to be as productive as Jonathan Taylor, if not better, if you just give him everything. So keep going.
Yeah, so to me, Jimmy Garoppolo gives the Colts the best chance to be as close as a Super Bowl contender you can't be in the AFC, because the AFC, the power balance has really shifted the past couple of years. I would have said a couple of years ago the NFC was the more powerful conference. I mean, you look at the talent in the AFC, you got Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Baltimore, the Chargers, Denver now. You got a lot of depth there. And Jimmy Garoppolo puts you closer to those teams. Yes, I know he's not the sexiest name. Niner fans aren't, the happiest with him, but he does he's good enough to put you in situations to win. Their defense is good enough. Their offense is going to be good enough with Jimmy Garoppolo. So yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo to Indianapolis just feels like a slam dunk, unless Washington decides to overpay, which I could see them doing. But if I had to pick right now, I think Indianapolis is the best place for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Last one, Carolina Panthers.
Oh, I don't even care, to be honest. No, I'm joking.
Who cares, man?
Yeah, I mean, Cam. They said they want to bring back Cam. I see that. I think they're the team that's going to miss out. I really do. If we're going to believe Trubisky's going to the Giants, I can't think of another name that's really available. I mean, have they said they're moving off of Darnold? Is Darnold a free agent?
No, they picked up his 50-year option. He's on the
so
team.
Then maybe Darnold, because
it is Darnold. That's going to be my pick. I think it's Darnold.
Because here's the thing, AG Fox. I see a lot of people suggesting Jordan Love. The Packers don't have to do anything with Jordan Love yet. He's still on his rookie deal. They don't have to do anything. He's going to be their backup. That's okay. Because he's been their backup for 2 years now. They're fine with him being there. Yeah, they don't have to move off of Jordan Love. Even if he says, I want to be traded, the Packers are gonna be like, that's tough shit, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're still on your rookie deal. We're not gonna move it. Like, I'm sorry. So it is what it is.
Shades by Shardol. This is like one of the best names also. And this is one of the best names I've ever seen. Jim Deanna, Garoppolo Colts.
Jim Deannapolis.
Trust me, man. Listen, every Uber driver I spoke with, because I took 800 Ubers while I was in Indianapolis.
Chasing those Uber sources.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and platinum membership for everything. Like, that counts towards Uber Eats and all that stuff. Oh, what are you in town for? I'm here for the combine. Oh, do you cover a team? I cover the 49ers. Oh, we'd love to have that Jimmy Garoppolo be our starter. And I was like, yeah, tell your front office, man. Don't tell me. What am I supposed to do? You tell them someone. Tell someone that knows someone that would know Jim Irsay, and you tell him that. But yeah, the buzz in Indianapolis from everybody we spoke to, from locals to GMs to coaches to players, is Wentz is done. And that's why Jimmy Garoppolo feels better. Also, let me keep it football. I don't know if Carson Wentz's 1 year in this league that was the MVP season with the Eagles is his rule or is his exception. Because it feels like his exception. Okay? Now, when you start to factor in all of those other things, how can you not say that you'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo start right now? Mm-hmm. So I got asked this question previously on the show that I did with Leo earlier, and I'm going to reiterate it because I thought about it and I've actually been able to put it in a objective state. If Jimmy Garoppolo started for the Colts last year, they'd be in the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. They'd lose that game on Sunday Night Football against the 49ers in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
But they'd beat the Jaguars that last game of the year. They'd beat the Titans in that one game that he threw poor interceptions in. Like, there's so many games that they lost that were just at the hands of Wentz that Jimmy, while we all make fun of Carson Wentz for wild interceptions, Jimmy doesn't do that because Carson Wentz is trying to make things happen and throw it down the field. Like Jimmy's going to throw interceptions in the intermediate area where you're just like, what were you looking at? But he took too many of those chances. And so much of what the Colts do on offense is timing that Carson Wentz can't get down, that Jimmy Garoppolo can't. Hand the ball out to Jonathan Taylor 28 times. Ask Jimmy Garoppolo to execute 20, 21 throws. And those ones on third down are going to be critical. And let that defense play ball. They would have probably made the playoffs, in my opinion, and I'm not backing off of that one. That's not a hot take, in my opinion. I believe that if Jimmy Garoppolo was their starter for 17 games, didn't miss a game, they would be in the playoffs right now. And I don't know that a Colts fan will argue with you right now about that.
Yeah, and I mean, really, the Colts, if they move on from Wentz and get Garoppolo, they're going to learn, no, he didn't.
That better not be true.
The Seahawks per Schefter.
Wow.
Seahawks informed 8-time All-Pro and Pro Bowl linebacker Bobby Wagner, a franchise icon. They are releasing him per source. Make the call. Fuck it. Make the call. Make the call.
What the hell, man?
Make the call. I don't know how to put a tweet here. Jason, I'm gonna copy this.
That Wagner news is confirmed. It's completely confirmed.
Jason, I'm gonna comment here. This is the Schefter tweet.
I got it. All right, I got it. Ready? Trade Greenlaw for some 4th round pick and go sign Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, go get Bobby Wagner.
What are you doing?
Go get Bobby Wagner.
What are you doing? Make the call.
My joke was really messed up now. By Paul, I had a really good joke. Here's my joke. I'm going to go back to, and then we're going to talk about this Wagner news. The Colts are going to learn what every high school kid in America should learn when they move on from Carson Wentz to Jimmy Garoppolo. That safe is sexy, and that's would have helped. That would have helped them last year. Thank you. That's the joke I wanted to set up. All right, so there you go. Bobby Wagner is a free agent. Let me get my John Lynch GIF ready, because that's the move you need to make. That's a move. Wow. The Seahawks have blown it up. The Seahawks are blowing it. It's official. I mean, you didn't need anything more than the Russell Wilson thing. Wow. I would see here, Jason, here, little insight. We talked about it earlier. I was hoping that some Garoppolo news would drop during this podcast, because it really feels like that's coming up. This was not the news I expected. Bobby Wagner is being released.
I'm trying to work my phone so I could figure out like what the hell's going on right now, and text whoever it is that I believe is in the know.
Wow.
I can explain it here better than I can tweet it.
Yeah, talk about it, and then we'll clip this, Jason. We'll clip this part. You tweet it out. You see how that works? Wow, Bobby Wagner's a free agent. Woo!
Trade Dre Greenlaw for a 3rd for whatever you get. Add to your stockpile, and that could push you into the 1st round. If you trade a 3rd, a 2nd, whatever you get for Jimmy Garoppolo, push you into the 1st round. Sign Bobby Wagner expeditiously, immediately. You can start Bobby Wagner and Fred Warner. What?
I mean, can I just get really hot and overreact to this news? If the Niners do get Bobby Wagner, this is us Niner fans being wishful and hopeful. That's got to be a better. Wagner and Warner is better than Willis and Navarro. Bowman, maybe.
Look, someone said, "Watch you." All right, no tweeting.
Wow,
dude. Someone else is moving from Seattle. Someone else. Lockett, DK, one of them. This is like a complete teardown. They're starting over. It's about to be Drew Lock and Malik Willis.
Yeah.
My God.
It's so interesting, because, like, as I said earlier, with the Russell Wilson news and maybe them getting Deshaun Watson, this is so weird that they're doing this with Pete Carroll. Like, you would think they do this, like, you think they would do this teardown and get a new coach and kind of rebuild around that. Wow. This is great podcasting, by the way. It's just Jason and I in shock, not talking much. Oh, I made them angry. Hey, guys, I said I'm allowed to say it because of prisoner of the moment. I'm not saying that's my take. Let me be a prisoner of the moment, because Bobby Wagner is a free agent at this point, and I don't think the Niners are even going to get him. Jamal Adams could be a name that's available. I don't know why the Niners would go after him, because they have Talanoa Hufanga. Tyler Lockett his name has already been floated out there. DK Metcalf makes sense. Wow, Bobby Wagner's a free agent. I did not expect that today. I really did not expect that today. But here we are.
Yeah. You know what? Don't care. Bring in Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, bring him in.
Stop this. Don't even mess around. I don't want to hear it. For as many 49ers players that end up as Seahawks.
Yeah, we get this one, right? Thank you for the donation, Carl Zion. Appreciate it. Schefter just tweeted again. Let's see what he's got.
Anyone's got a life for that Seattle pack. I love it.
Seattle saves $16.6 million against the cap, releasing perennial All-Pro linebacker. He'll allowed to be assigned. He will be allowed to sign with another team before free agency begins next week. I mean, my super duper hot take is this maybe makes Deshaun Watson to Seattle a little more likely. I mean, that's a lot of cap.
Right.
That's a lot of cap space to free up. That's a lot of cap space to free up.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so glad that you guys are here. We're gonna end this really soon because I don't want to hear that.
Oh, you don't want to hear that? Apologize. God, I like the chat right now. I really do. This is hot. What will Bobby Wagner add to the defense that we don't already have? A second linebacker. I mean, Azeez Al-Shaair is fine. Azeez Al-Shaair is good. Dre Greenlaw's fine. But, I mean, if you can get that second linebacker next to Fred, and this is just talking hypothetically. I mean, Jason, let's calm down a little bit. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think the Niners get Bobby Wagner? Like
zero.
But we can have fun talking about it, right? That's why we're here. I don't think
if we can't overreact in March, then when can we overreact?
Yeah, like let us overreact. I don't think it's happening. It's not, but let us hypothetically talk about it because it's fun. Because he's a free agent now, and we can. But wow, that is not what I expect. Thank you. I forget who. We got so many comments that I forgot who brought that to our attention. So thank you for that. Do we want
if it's zero? Can we overreact a little bit?
Yeah,
man?
let us
know. I know that's not going to happen. Let me overreact. Let me dream of a world where Bobby Wagner stands across from Fred Warner. Let me dream.
Yeah.
And also, 49er fans, take your fandom out of it. How dare you disrespect Bobby Wagner like he ain't a baller, man? What's wrong with you? I know he played for the Seahawks. Who cares, man? If Bobby Wagner, let's say, just put out a statement said, my dream is to go play linebacker for the 49ers team. I love you, Dre Greenlaw. I love you, Azeez Al-Shaair, but you got to get your asses up out of here, man. Like real quick, fast, and in a hurry, man. Like I'm not playing with you, man. Come on.
Salvador, Pete. Well, Paul, you make a point because as I said, like this, blowing it up like this with a coach like Pete Carroll is just so interesting because I don't think he's not at the age where he's trying to rebuild. That's what's confusing to me about this. Salvador, only reason I want Wagner is to run a 3-4 scheme again, 2 edge rushers, 2 middle linebackers. But here's the thing, and I know the Niners run that 4-3. The Niners pretty much base offense, Jason, and you know this X is no better than me. It's really just 2 middle linebackers, and that's really what they run. It's more of a 5-2 than a 4-3 traditionally. You agree with me on that or disagree? Because you're the X's and O's guy of the podcast. That the Niners mainly
3-4 would be the move if what we think is going to happen and all the dots we're putting together with, D'Amico Ryan's going to be the DC.
What the hell's Fangio running over there?
And if Fangio comes in and you running 3-4 now with Wagner and Warner. Man,
let us have fun. We're overreacting. I don't think it's going to happen. Let us overreact because the news just came across.
I don't care. I want to overreact. What the hell? I'm tired of being cold and calculated and everything. Like even when I asked your general manager a regular ass question, he dodged it. He's never going to talk to me ever again now because of it.
Hey,
he dodged it, man. What the hell? They struck my question from the record, Andrew.
I know
that was not my question at all.
I know. Salvador, Vic Fangio, there's dots to be tied to the Fangio thing. He's taking a year off. The Niners have already reached out to him being what's the word we're looking for, Jason? An assistant, not an assistant, but an advisor. There we go. And D'Amico Ryans is probably going to be a head coach next year. The Fangio thing makes sense. Man, what an interesting podcast has been. I think we should wrap it up before anything else wild happens.
I 100% agree.
Wow. So there we go. Really big day for Niner fans. Really big day. Russell Wilson out in Seattle. Bobby Wagner out in Seattle. And it's probably just the tip of the iceberg at this point. Yes, Salvador, that's what I was saying. Bring in Fangio after Ryan leave because Fangio's taking the year off. It makes sense. Connect the dots. Wow. The Seahawks today, I mean, really, March 8th is the day the Seahawks, whatever remnants of their dynasty from earlier in the 2010s was left, it's gone. And that's just what it is. Great day to be a Niners fan.
See what this is?
Little heart. It's the world's smallest violin.
Nailed it.
Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. What a day.
What a day. What a day. Go Niners.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.